Hey y'all, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. If you happen to be new, welcome. I'm so glad you decided to stop by. Today we are going to be doing kind of a first impression / tutorial on the new Huda Beauty Nude Palette. I'm a huge fan of pretty much all Huda Beauty palettes. I have the rose gold one, well I guess like the second re-release edition, the Desert Dusk, as well as the mini obsessions, which those are some of my absolute favorites. I've been using the ruby obsessions like crazy. If y'all have never tried this palette before, I highly recommend going to Sephora and swatching it. Not only are the matte formulas amazing, but these shimmers, or I guess like her pearl shadows, are so good. They're like butter on your eyelids. I love them. But then I received this palette in the mail and I was so excited. So here's the actual palette. Inside you have a mirror as well as 18 beautiful kind of soft rose, plummy, mauve-y tones. I think it is so pretty. So there are 10 of the satin soft matte shades. These are infused with coconut oil as well as aloe vera. Then we have 2 of the pressed glitters. We saw some of these in the Desert Dusk palette, as well as a pressed pearl. And then 4 of these brand new, I forget what they're called. I think she said it was a spackle formula. They're multi-reflective pearls. So it's supposed to be a high coverage metallic foil with reflective pearl flakes, which you can see it kind of almost looks like a granite or marble countertop. You just have these little chunks of like pearl flakes in there. I'm really excited to dip into those, as well as this concealed shade. So this is kind of supposed to be like a tacky eyeshadow base. It's supposed to work on all different skin tones. You do kind of want something a little bit lighter like this just to make whatever shade you build up on top really pop. So yeah, let's go ahead and dip right into it. Throughout the video, I will be introducing the brushes as we use them. I think we're gonna go ahead and start off with the Smoke and Smudge. Actually, you know what, let's use this one instead. So they are all dual-ended brushes. I don't believe these ones are available on Sephora's website. You can find these at hudabeauty.com as well as Cult Beauty. So this one is the Build and Blend. The only thing is this is kind of an interesting shape to use as a crease brush. Like it's a paddle shape with this like slant to it. And then on the other end, we have another small kind of like paddle shaped crease brush. I'm not too sure about these just because I do have a specific type of brush that I like to use in my crease, but we're gonna go ahead and try to make it work. So let me go ahead and peel off the little film on the mirror. That's always like the most satisfying part. I'm gonna go ahead and start off with the shade Bare, and I'm just gonna pack some of this right onto my brow bone. I think I'm just gonna use the larger end of this brush just to really cover up additional space. I will be using the concealed shade, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and wait and reserve that for my actual lid whenever I wanna go in with something like shimmery or glittery. All right, add a little bit of this onto the other side. I think this is a really good brow bone shade. It's not like stark white where it just looks kind of funny. I know I can get a little bit excited with brow bone shades sometimes where like I look in the mirror after and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a little bright white under there, but this is a really good flattering color. I think we'll do some Teddy and Tickle or Teddy and Raw and just wiggle it back and forth. Ooh, this is really pretty. It's almost kind of like a pink version of like a terracotta shade. I have to say though, I'm not crazy about this brush, at least for my crease. So I'm gonna go in with the Morphe 502. This is like the brush that I typically use in my crease, and I just think it works better, especially for hooded eyes, because I always like to pull my crease shade up a bit. Otherwise, it just disappears. That color is good for like wedging a color in, but I feel like I have to do more work with it. It just takes a lot longer than using a brush like this size. Let's go in with Raw. This is kind of like a brown mauve shade. And we're just going to build up some of this right in the outer corner. I think those two shades work great together. I think I am gonna stick more towards some of these like coppery mauve shades just because my last look was really purple. So let's do something a little bit more rosy this go around. At least we'll see. I could end up changing my mind. If you have never used Huda shadows before, the mattes blend together seamlessly. I've never had issues of them getting muddy or anything. Now taking my finger, I'm just gonna go right into Concealed. I feel like that may get a little bit messy in that palette. So it's not overly opaque. It's just almost like a nice sheer tacky base. I'm going to press that on right into the inner area of my eye. So I'm really liking the way that Charmed and Crave look. Those two just seem to have the most like dimension and kind of like duochrome effect going on. So I'm gonna go in with the Fender blender. You kind of have this like silicone spatula end, as well as a traditional kind of like foam sponge tip applicator. Let's go ahead and start off with the more silicone side and see how this works. I have a feeling though that I may like this more with my finger. I don't know how I feel about that. I just always like anything that's like this, like soft or foiled. I just feel like your finger is the best. Oh my gosh, the best bet. Yeah. Did you see the difference of my finger versus that Fender blender? I don't think the Fender blender is necessary. Wow, that is like pink and copper and mauve at the same time. That is such a beautiful shadow. I'm actually gonna try the Fender blender one more time to go in on my inner corner, since that's a more like tightly concentrated area. Maybe this will work better for that. So now I'm gonna go into Crave. This one reminds me of like the inside of an oyster shell. It's so pretty. Okay. So yeah, I think this may be better for areas like this, like your inner corner. That goes in, but I still feel like my finger worked better. Okay, so far on the brushes, they're not bad, but something like this I just don't think is worth it because you're getting a sponge tip applicator on one side. You can buy a giant pack of those from like Sally's or Walmart for so cheap. This side isn't bad, but like I said, your finger just works so much better. So at least for this brush, I'd say pass on it. I'm not that impressed. I do still kind of want to go in and use one of the glitters. Oh my gosh, this one on my ring finger, that is so stunning. I think I am gonna go ahead and tap a little bit of that on just because I do wanna be able to show y'all all 4 formulas on my eyes in this video. So I'm just going to dip into Infatuated and just lightly tap some of that right onto the center on top of Charmed. You can definitely build up these glitters to be like way more intense, but I still kind of like that pearl quality from that spackle formula to peek through. Wow, those colors are so pretty. I definitely see myself using this palette a ton. I'm just gonna run a little bit of 𝗟𝗧𝗧'𝗦's Blossom, these cream shadow sticks, onto my lower lash line. I seriously cannot get over the dimension going on in those like spackle, multi-pearlized finish shadows. Those are amazing. I just want to like swipe it all over my lid. I can't wait to go in and use Fantasy, this one, and then Daydream. Like, look at the pinks going on in Fantasy. Now going in with the Smoke and Smudge brush, I can already tell I'm going to love this side. I have a Morphe brush kind of similar to this. Oh, the Morphe one may be a touch smaller. Oh no, actually this is a Sigma brush. The Sigma E21. It's also called the smudge brush. Any brush like that or a pencil brush, I'm usually always on board for. I just love those. I realized I did not use Kinky yet. This is their one pearl shadow in here, the pressed pearl. So I'm gonna pick up a little bit of that. I think we'll mix this and a matte, but let's start off with Kinky. And I'm just gonna run some of this onto my lower lash line. Whoops. I may actually go in with that 𝗟𝗧𝗧'𝗦 shadow stick one more time just to brighten up my lash line or my waterline even more. Go ahead and give the Fender Bender one more try. This time we're gonna go in with a sponge tip applicator, and I think Daydream was more of like, yeah, like a frosty lilac pink. So I'm just going to really pack some of that on to the sponge tip. The only problem with this is since there are those pearl flakes in there, I feel like with the brush and with a sponge, you still kind of get a little bit of like a chunky, it's not gritty, but it's just a bit chunkier. Whereas like with your finger, the pressure really kind of breaks down the pearl flakes. When you use this, you kind of have to really push it in to kind of crush those pearls up even more. But I think the sponge tip does work better than the silicone side. All right, so here is the final look. I ended up popping on the little cute silky robe that was in the PR package. I didn't even realize that was in there until I started watching like random other little Instagram clips, and I was like, I totally would have thrown that box away and had no idea. So thanks to the several people that I did see unbox it. But here's the look. I think it is so pretty. It's like pink without being obnoxious, if that makes sense. I know sometimes a lot of us look at like blue eyeshadows or pink eyeshadows and we're just like, no, that looks bad. Like, why would you want to put on pink eyeshadow? Because then you could look like you have pink eye. But I think this is really pretty and feminine and just rosy. I really, really like it. I will say though, just a heads up for next time, I haven't used the Desert Dusk palette in probably about like 3-ish weeks just because I've had so many other palettes come in that I've wanted to put to the test. I forgot. I think I did go in with some sort of glitter adhesive last time. So I would recommend that because I noticed whenever I was putting on my highlighter, I did have little flecks of pink glitter underneath. I was able to dust that away easily though without disrupting my makeup. Clearly this was just a super quick and easy, simple look, but sometimes I feel like those are better than like the crazy intricate eyeshadow tutorials. Obviously there's nothing wrong with those. Those people are crazy talented, but I know not all of us are at that skill level, so it's nice to see a palette being used everyday achievable look if you're into wearing pink glittery eyeshadow every day. I mean, after seeing this, I totally wouldn't be opposed to it. It's just so girly. I know these Huda Beauty palettes are definitely pricey. They're $65 a pop, so it really depends, you know, where you choose to spend your money in your makeup routine. I find with the $65, the quality is definitely there. As I mentioned earlier, I've never had issues with this formula getting muddy or anything. So it's really more like, do you have anything like this in your collection already? Or do you not really have like mauves and plums in your collection and it's something you're interested in? This would be perfect. As for the brushes, I had already said, I don't think they're bad, but I don't know. I just don't think that's something that I would spend my money on, especially for the fender blender. In the end, all you're really getting is a sponge tip applicator and a silicone tip. However, I really do like this smoke and smudge brush. The smudge side is perfect. Even this side is perfect for just really packing on the color. This guy here, the Build and Blend, this is all personal preference because we all have totally different eye shapes. If you have someone who has like a really deep set crease, this may be perfect for you. But someone like me who has hooded eyes, this shape is just kind of, I don't know, I didn't really like it as much. It's not a bad brush by any means, and I really do like the concept of like the dual-ended brushes, but these two I would pass on. Moving on to the palette, I already love it. I can tell I'm going to use this guy a ton. I think the whole color story is absolutely beautiful. It's unique compared to like the traditional tons and tons of coppery red and burnt orange sienna palettes that I have. I'm really excited to have something like this all consolidated into one palette, especially with so many different unique formulas. My only concern is this concealed shade here. If you look at it up close, it already looks pretty dirty. Come on, camera, there you go. Just from like little pieces of fallout from the palette that's gathered in there. There's no protective sheet on it minus the little covering, this guy here, which I mean, I guess this is somewhat the protective sheet, but while I'm using it, there's not like an individual thing there covering it. I do really like the idea of having it built into the palette though. That way I'm not having to like rummage through my drawers to find some sort of tacky base. It's just the cleanliness portion that's kind of concerning to me. Also, I'm not sure if this is going to dry out or if it's a formula that will stay wet. Yeah, those are just like my two big concerns about that. But other than that, I didn't have any issues with the palette. I'm really excited to go back into it and create some more looks. Let me know down below if you guys would like to see a more like deeper purple plummy version of it. Plus with the Sephora VIB sale going on, I'm not sure how much longer, or I guess holiday sale. This launches November 1st on Sephora's site. I'm not sure if the sale is still going to be going on then, but if it is, I would definitely go ahead and add it to your cart now. Although right now on Sephora, it may still just say like coming soon, but if you click that button, you can get the email notification as soon as it's in stock. That way you can pop it right into your cart. So yeah, that is it for this video. I really hope you guys found it helpful. If you did, I would love if you gave it a thumbs up. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all have a great weekend and I will see you in the next one. Bye.